Okay, we are recording. As always, and each and every single time without a miss, I am indeed Brian Kynes. And I'm surrounded, I don't know if you'd even call it surrounded today, by several people. This is almost like the beginning of Brady Bunch, but some of the tiles aren't working. You know, there's certain kids that just didn't show up for this episode. To my side, over here is Rachel. She'll be playing the role of Miasha tonight. She's got her hands full. They're trying to pull off some straight caper-like shit. It's going to be ninja. It's going to be ninja. Below her are Kara and Heather. They will be playing the roles of Tamyra and Sylowen. Looking forward to seeing how all this goes. Letting you guys stretch your arms a little bit and get out there and kick a little bit of ass tonight. And directly below me is Sean. He'll be playing the role of Sha-dae, our rogue slash monk slash dark avenger. I don't know what the hell you want to call her at this point, but she's peculiar. Shadowy figurine. Mm-hmm. So the best way I think to pick this up is to start with Miasha and Sha-dae's plan of being able to get to Gleandria and actually pull this off. They've met with this person. We call him the Drowned Kiss, and his name is Aselair. And Aselair is, as you all know, is the right hand, one of the right hands of Gleandria on the airship, the Dreadnaught. And it turns out we've got some information that Gleandria is under, I don't know if you'd even really call it a spell or a curse or what it is, but she willfully made a pact to be a part of this group that could recruit your services at literally any time. And when a certain word or a phrase or a thing is given to you or shown, there are different ways to trigger this. The memory of this said task will become very clear to you. And then Gleandria will act on it. It's almost like someone in a hypnotic trance, and you say the key word, and it goes into motion. Aselair has shared with us that he, in fact, has the key to unlock this. She has specifically asked that tonight she be awoken in this manner because she has big plans for tonight, and that's why it's very desperate that Aselair has reached out to a person that you would have thought was Aselair's archenemy in all this, but turns out really wasn't. Sha-dae just is becoming a pain in the ass because Aselair's like the undercover cop, and Sha-dae's poking up. It's like, what's going on in that window over there? What's that? So it's really pushed everyone into this kind of, we need to act now. So Aselair has reached out to Sha-dae and said, we need to join forces. And with your help, I think we can do this a lot better than possibly Aselair could have pulled it off on his own. Okay? I think that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it, Sean?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Okay, good deal. I was hoping it was yes. So, Miasha, did you have a chance to watch a little bit of the last episode and see where we're at right now and stuff like that?
Yeah, I watched enough to get a general gist. I might be a bit foggy on details, but I have a basic... I think I know where I'm at.
Yeah, and Sean, you can jump in here and add at any time. Just go, and I'll be quiet, okay? Because I can't see you raising your hands right now.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, you two are starting to trust each other on the fact that you know you're trying to trust each other, Miasha. You and Sha-dae are kind of counterparts in this. You want something in the long run. We know this. You want help, and you're willing to give help. But you've got to make sure these guys aren't a bunch of buffoons. You know, you don't want to just jump in and do dumb shit and have to walk away from this like that was a hot mess. And I know that's on the back of Miasha's mind. So, having said that, you've agreed to take part in this however you can. You're not sure if you're there to help clean up the fallout. You don't know if you're there to help Sha-dae take this mask off of Gleandria. The instant that this happens, or how it's going to go, but you're open to suggestions and you're willing to help. But at the same time, if something gets a little bit too deep, Rachel, and you're like, no, my character's not doing that. This is fucking dumb. You just got to be honest and tell me so you can get the hell out of Dodge, and we'll just play it out and see what happens, okay?
Easy.
Okay. No obligations. Sylowen and Tamyra, you two have had your moment where you're pretty much getting placed. Did we discuss where Tamyra wanted to be during this? Was there one person in particular you wanted to be closer to?
I was close to the enemy girl, or not enemy girl, the
Lydia.
Lydia?
Yes.
Yeah, I was down on the first level with it. Like, she was in my sight, but I wasn't like near her. But
I remember you were acting as if you were a guard of the entrance to Skywell at the bottom, because they usually have 2 guards from New Gendar at the bottom and 2 guards from Skywatch on top. So
but I have the uniform.
Yes. Just for hell of it, roll a deception. Or I tell you, I'll let you pick the stat that you want to use and decide if you want to do like.
Deception's good because that's charisma, so I'm +4.
Okay. I'll let you out. Hold on. I'm gonna let my cat out because it is yelling at my ass. Go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back.
I thought that was our cat. I was so confused.
No, it's not cat. It's not.
So if it's deception and that is charisma, do I add my proficiency bonus?
Are you proficient in
Charisma?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's +8 to it. It's not a good roll.
Oh, it's not a good roll. Uh-oh. Well, we like a little
it's
reality. Tamyra can't be good at everything, for God's sake. How did
It's
you
a
do?
10. A 10.
A total of 10. Here's the thing. So we're going to say with a 10 that you put it on. It doesn't fit very good. It's a smaller man's. So it's tight on you and it's uncomfortable. Moreover, you didn't dull yourself down very much because, as we've discussed, Kara, Tamyra was a very good-looking person physically, okay? And I think with the haste of which you got that, thinking about Valdera and all these other things that just happened, you got your golden locks, you're still hanging out. You didn't rub any mud on your face. You're not trying to do the persona. You put this on, it didn't fit real good. You went out and you stood by the place like you've seen the guards do in the past. So for the hell of it, roll me a performance check. This could help sell it.
Oh, it's not good.
It just gets better and better.
It's going to be an 11.
It's going to, you know what? If we have to roll 19 more different rolls to get you up to a 20, that's what we can do because we're climbing one at a time. It's all good. So we're going to say that when you get there and you are standing at the bottom of Skywell, you can't help but start psychoanalyzing the job. Why would the guards stand here? Why wouldn't they stand over there where they could actually see something that's fucking going on? This doesn't make any sense. And the whole time, you're just picking apart the role when all you have to do is just kind of play dumb and stand there. And it shows to anyone that really wants to roll and look at it. So flavor aplenty on that one. Okay, so Sylowen, you already rolled. You're kicking complete ass. You're up there singing the song from Donnie Darko. It's brilliant. You've had a hell of fun. I forgot that. And I saw it in the video today, and it was funny all over again. It was really good. And we decided it was like 12:30 at night at this point, correct? Because the wake was over. Everything was done. And a lot of people had already went home and were packing it up. Plus, it was kind of cold. We said there was a blowing snow, and it was about 32 to 33 degrees. Not enough to make it really build, but not enough to make it melt away immediately either. So we're in that wind chill kind of factor. There's a front moving down. So if you two would please be patient, listen to the other two play for a little bit. We will get to you all and the mess that you guys have on your hands, depending on how these other two do. So wish them the best of luck. All right, Sean, are you ready do you have anything you would like to say to Miasha as you guys are headed up Skywell to Skywatch, and then going to the Dreadnaught, because you've been told that Aselair is guiding you. Aselair says that she's actually taking a break and resting, that her and Aeolus, the other ship captain, are taking shifts, watching over everybody. Okay? I'll let you kind of have it for a moment. If there's anything you want to share from Miasha on the way up the stairwell, anything you want, man.
So, Miasha, this whole thing is about trust between us. So, here's what I've planned to do. As you may or may not know, I have certain abilities that allow me to manipulate the shadows about me, allowing me to sneak up on people and whatnot. My plan is, when we lure Gleandria out, I'm banking on the chance that you and Aselair could distract her for a moment. Enough so that I can shadow step behind her and knock her out in one hit. Or at least stun her for a while.
When you say distraction, how distracting do you want it to be? I can be particularly eye-catching when I want to be. So how hard do you want me to go at this?
I just need you to hold her attention so she doesn't see me.
I can do
My
that.
plan is
at
to
least.
see if I can stun her good enough, then maybe while she's unable to move and react, we can get that mask off of her.
All right. I'm happy to follow your lead. If I think it's going wrong, however, I will warn you in the name of trust that I will be leaving.
Fair enough.
Aselair is with you all, well, just about 5 foot, 10 foot up ahead of you, leading the way to the ship, and he stops for a minute. And he turns around, long black hair just kind of swirls around him. And he stops, and his mouth is open with his finger up in the air, as if he's having a sarcastic thought. Okay? And he says, knocking her out is one thing. And understand that, although that is rarely done, especially in the case of who she is and what she is. He goes, getting the mask off and away from her will snap her back to her normal self. Once you're able to do that, I'm pretty sure that the hold on her will be... And he looks for a minute to question himself to make sure he's thinking about all the different factors. And as he thinks about it for a minute, he goes, I believe that will release the grip on her. But understand, she will fight with everything she has to keep a hold of it. That's why it is so utterly important that when I speak the word, and then she is making that transition, which only lasts for just a moment, from the Gleandria you know to the Gleandria that you have not met yet. It has to come off then. So whatever help, and Aselair looks at you, Rachel, whatever help you wish to add to this, you have a small window of time. We're not talking about entertaining here. As he looks you up and down and looks at your clothing and things of that nature. He goes, a distraction very well may be putting yourself in harm's way so harm doesn't go another way. You need to be ready for anything.
You said that like I'm not ready for everything.
I don't want to have you go up there and have at least not said that once from my own lips to your own ears. I don't need that on my conscience.
Well, as long as your conscience is settled, then I suppose everything's all right, isn't it?
Deep breath and looks at the two of you, turns around and continues to walk again. With a little
sort of
bit
as
more
he
haste.
walks away, I just want to sort of turn to Sha-dae and just say, I don't like him.
Neither do I, darling, but, you know, you've been working with him for a while, so you just deal with it. But
Like all men, you just deal with it. I
Yes.
see. Okay.
you just deal
Got
with
it.
it. Yeah.
Just deal with it.
Men are
On
terrible.
that note, darling, if it does look like it's going downhill, run. 'Cause
I
you can't run
appreciate
when your
that.
legs are made of stone.
Right. I am. Look, as long as we time it right, I'm not concerned. But thank you. I do appreciate that you have voiced my backup plan.
Run.
Run.
That's the backup
Like I
plan.
said,
It doesn't have to be detailed. It's just run.
Right on. It's kind of like in Ghostbusters, and he says to him and goes, "Get her." That was your whole plan, was get her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is going to be fantastic. Okay. So, I will say, as you all are walking in the actual upper part of the city, okay, of Skywatch, you hear faint singing off in the distance that you immediately recognize is Sylowen playing the part and preparing. Okay. You steer clear of that area as to not taint it with you all as Aselair guides you around where she will be. As Aselair hears this, he stops for a minute and listens. Looks at the both of you and says, "Impressive. It would seem you have ample aid in this area. We can only hope that's enough." Turns to continue. Okay. Gets down to the place, Sha-dae, where the battle took place with you. Okay. When you first met. And you see a familiar person walking back and forth impatiently, in deep thought, nervously, with a large 3-barreled musket behind their back. And you recognize this as being Aeolus, the other ship captain from before. It is his shift now to watch over the two vessels. And he is walking back and forth along that long pier that divides the two ships. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And as he gets to the far end, Aselair lies eyes with him and turns to you, Sha-dae, and says, "Do you think this will be a problem, or can we get past him? We do
I don't.
work on the ship. I don't think he's has any clue as to what's in store, does he?"
No, I think he's totally fine. Just we're going to our ship. Just let us pass. We're good to go.
He looks at you and he says, "Then I shall step back into my role."
Yes.
And all of a sudden you see this wicked Loki-like grin come across his face. And he looks down and you see the sinisterness come back over and transform him into the asshole you've grown to love to hate. And he does like a stiff step and ruffles the collar and flips the color on his shirt, his long jacket that he wears. And he moves his hand and says, "After you."
Age before beauty, darling. You go first.
Want you to roll let's roll opposing persuasion checks to see who gets this.
Okay.
I got an 11.
I've got a 13.
Phew, you barely whipped me. Okay. So with that, Aselair loses this one. I will have to play that, although I didn't want to. He will take the lead in walking along. He says, "I thought I would give you a chance at being the number one, but since you can't seem to handle the responsibility. We shall continue to play it as we have the last several years. And with that little sharp...
He's such a pain in the ass. How do you deal with this?
He
Most
walks
of the
that
time,
direction.
Just ignore it.
Okay. As he gets about halfway up to where Aeolus was, Aeolus stops at the far end of the pier and stops and turns around and looks for a long moment and then begins to walk that way. He begins to make his way further over to the ramp that leads onto the ship. And just as soon as Aselair goes to round the corner, Aeolus leans on the other banister and stops you all from going any further. Not physically saying halt, but laying a hand on the banister and tapping his gun with his fingertips. Okay. Does everybody remember who Aeolus is?
Yes, Aeolus is the captain of the Lila.
He looks like the actor that plays Lucifer.
Yeah.
He has long tied back hair. He's like a swashbuckling pirate type character. Okay. With his large 3-barreled that he calls the Sky Dragon, which is this musket that he has. As he stands there, he whips his gaze sharply over towards you, Sha-dae. And he goes, "You need to understand that Gleandria has been up for most of the day. I'm taking the night watch now. So nothing foolish on the ship, although I'm not her captain. I'm responsible for it for the next 12 hours.
Oh, I fully understand, darling, and I commend you for your efforts. I'm just going on the ship to get some things out of my cabin. It's no big deal."
Looks around. Remember the preparations that you talked about. They're going to start the Bounty Hunters Guild. You've already had this long conversation with Aeolus, so he trusts you to a pretty decent degree. The conversation that you had at the table there makes this pretty simple a task for you. But he also recognizes, well, let me make sure. Yes, he also recognizes Miasha. And as Miasha, you have offered to go aboard his ship 2 different times, and Aeolus both times told you cleverly that it was just a little bit too dangerous for you. In saying that, you realize in those moments he was pawning you off because he didn't want prying eyes on his ship, and he's one of the more above board airship captains that come to the city. So you were literally just doing this for a job, to be entertainment, to go on an adventure at one point. You actually tried to go on the ship when the group went and saved this half-orc just about 9 months ago or so, and he said you weren't allowed to come along or weren't allowed to be on board at that time, which is a campaign everybody else went on before this one. So, he's a good person and very charming, devilishly charming, if you will. And once he gives you all a brief look over, he says, "Before I go, have you seen Dahan? I need him here with me to watch over this place. Oma is inside, tending to the ship itself, but Dahan would be I would welcome him warmly back to his post if you've seen him. Now, you've seen him. You know what he's going to be doing. And Miasha, you may know that he's a part of this as well. You've met Dahan. Sha-dae, what are you saying to Aeolus when he brings that up?"
Well, I think I might have saw him earlier, but I don't know where he's been. I saw him passing and like a couple of hours ago, so where he is, I don't know.
Roll deception.
The deception?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 21.
Damn. I thought I was going to get you. Nope, you beat him. He believes you for the most part, but it's not like Dahon to not be there, especially after Dauntus was murdered, and there are serious things going on here. So at this point, he's going to let it go. Then you guys would be able to go onto the ship. He would be standing guard on that pier, walking back and forth, being very serious. And you would see a couple of his crew, which are just like, non-name cast members that could die there on Star Trek that may just go, they're just people.
Oh, the red shirts.
Yes, the red shirts all day. So you'll notice something interesting, Miasha. When you step onto the Dreadnaught, this is not like stepping onto a regular airship. This is a battleship. This thing isn't made for comfort. This thing, it has a style to it, but it's more ancient relic-like style and vicious. The wood is extraordinarily dark. The metal one is extraordinarily thick and heavy. You know that this is a threatening ship, and that's one that you've never even asked to be a part of before. You don't want anything to do with that. Anything to do with the city of Agenroth, you're okay with. These people are a little bit too serious for me to juggle in front of them and make them laugh. But when you walk on the ship, it lives up to its reputation. Normally, when you step on one, you're super light-footed as well. And normally when you step on an airship, it distributes weight very oddly, almost like a ship in the water. But it doesn't have a counter swing. It just sinks when you step on it and finds its center as you move. This one doesn't budge. This is almost like you're stepping on solid ground. Even with your dainty steps and your dexterity, you can tell that just from the moment you step on the deck of the ship. Okay?
I feel like I need to go shopping for black clothes suddenly. I feel like it's only appropriate I'm not dressed brightly. Step onto the emo ship.
If you want, you can run into my closet. I've got nothing black clothes in there.
Right on. Yeah, you're a little
girls'
festive.
Night.
You're a little festive. If you're thinking that, are you really thinking, man, I wish I was dressed a little darker?
Yes.
Okay. You hear a very familiar sound in your head. It is your pet communicating with you. It has sensed that you are having some kind of emotion of you wish you had this and you wish you did that. And in that moment, it seems to be singing a song and making some kind of whistling / purring type sound. And you realize that it can shift its appearance to look like many different things. Okay? And as you are thinking these things, it has a telepathic link to you. We've discussed this. That's one of the powers this thing has. As you do, almost like a chameleon, heard your words. The two ribbons and sashes that you have thrown on top of you become a shadowy black-gray color with gray along the fringed ends of them, and they throw off a certain mystique to them. It darkens your demeanor quite a bit. With it being kind of gray out anyway this late at night with snow falling down, now getting heavier, by the way. It doesn't make you look like you just came off a festival ship. It does change your demeanor quite a bit.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Oh.
So
Do I notice this,
you roll a perception check with advantage.
It's 15.
Yes, you do.
Oh, looks like we have something in common. I too
Oh.
can change my appearance.
I don't imagine it is as elaborate as what you can do, but yes, I suppose we have something in common.
With that, Aselair stops for a minute, and he pulls out some spell components, and he begins working up some kind of magic. I will have you do an Arcana check, both of you, with a DC of 20 to be able to tell what it is that he is doing here.
No, I got a 12. It's not happening.
Just as a side note, my familiar Isadora has been out this whole time and just kind of perching and flying while she's following us. And right now she's perched up on one of the masts of the ship.
Okay. Roll me the Arcana first.
So that is an 18, unfortunately.
You're not quite sure. There's some gestures that look familiar to you, and you've seen Aselair do before, but nothing seems to come to mind. And as this happens, Miasha, you kind of abandon this whole Arcana thing. You know you're not going to be able to recognize it. And as you look around, you can see that there's water creeping out from barrels and things that seem to be along the lines of the ship and things. Some could be wine. Some seems to has a faint rose color to it against the sky and everything. It starts to look black, almost like blood coming across the boards of the ship top deck. There's water coming up, and it seems to be being drawn in towards Aselair, creeping up between boards and making a thin sheen on the actual top of the ship. Behind them, almost like you've mopped yourselves into a corner, and you guys are standing there with a direct path from there to the lower chambers of the Dreadnaught, and the whole ship tops, except for where you guys are standing, seems like it has some kind of frost covering on it as it glistens with lights and sparkles in the moonlight. Okay? After that, he turns towards you, Sha-dae, and Aselair's eyes are glazed over with a light blue hue. And he says to you, motionless, almost robotically, as if his mind is somewhere else, he goes, "She is sleeping." Okay? You know he's spying on her.
How did you know that?
He holds a hand up like this for just a minute. It's okay. And then the eyes close for a minute, and there's a long breath, and there's a sigh. And as the sigh comes out, you can see the fog from the coldness outside come from his heavy breath coming out of his nose and mouth. He opens his eyes up again, and they're normal. And he says to you, and he looks you up and down and says, an accomplished spellcaster would know this as scrying.
Did you just patronize me?
And right in the first syllable of patronize, after pat, the head turns and begins to walk down the path that hasn't been frosted over into the lower chambers. At that point, what are you doing?
Yeah, she sort of makes a really kind of almost a scowl and just kind of puts her fist up and just sort of punches her open palm like, oh, I'm gonna.
Oh,
she's a piece of work.
Yeah. Yes, he is a piece of work, but just.
I'm going to scratch that pretty face of his.
Later, after, but yeah, I won't look.
I love the fact that you two finally have something in common. Your hate for someone. That's beautiful. That's good stuff. So yeah,
it creates a quicker bond than love, as they say.
Right on. With that little piece of information that he sarcastically threw at Miasha, you realize that he has some kind of scrying spell up in the chambers that he's able to watch her with. He has plans. He has thought this out to a degree. That comforts you to some point, Sha-dae. As he heads through the main door and opens up the door and looks to the both of you and whispers very lightly, "This must be quick." and he descends down into the darkness, further down into the main cabin.
Make sure that Isadora is following behind me, but like quietly as possible.
Okay, so does Isadora come down? Where does she perch, or does she go on your shoulder, or where does she go? Because you guys are going
on my shoulder. She goes on my shoulder.
You're seeing this, Miasha, and I'm going to describe something to you all. I want you both to roll me just a charisma saving throw. Just a regular 1d20 plus your charisma bonus. Your guys' cat looks like a mountain range. It's fantastic.
It's a 21 on that.
A 21. Okay. And then what about you, Sha-dae? What'd you get?
A 17.
Okay. You start to have mixed feelings, Sha-dae. You do not like being caught in a corner. And it is something that you really have always tried to avoid. It reminds you of the first time that you met Gleandria down that darkness and how terrible and fearsome she seemed to you back then. Now, you know that you've gained her love, possibly, and even her trust over the years. But what about now? What about when you decide that you've seen a side of her that maybe she didn't want you to look at? As you descend down into this, as Aeolus leaves your sight, knowing that he's watching the deck, thinks that you all have the best intentions here, there's a hint of worry that comes over top of you just from your guts. Miasha, with your role, you feel extraordinarily confident in your abilities as you are going down into this. You are starting to plan and look at escape exits and thinking about things that could possibly go on and how to be able to make it out of this alive no matter what. You have a very confident feeling about this as you're going down into the lower chambers. Something that dawns on you, Sha-dae, is how convenient all this is, because everything's on lockdown and everyone's out watching for this murderous shit going on, that there aren't the normal thugs and people on this ship, because Gleandria can't trust many people. The main people she trusts are you and Aselair. Okay? There may be other crew members and stuff right now, but they either are back there fast asleep or out on watch amongst the city looking to see what's been going on. This is very convenient, a time for her to have selected to do this. It makes you think about the sharpness and wickedness, or even more of the cunning of this other version of Gleandria that you may meet in a minute. Is there anything you two are saying to each other as you descend past the first set of locked doors, down the steps into the underneath belly of the Dreadnaught, and start going into the inner chambers?
I'm just going to turn to Miasha and say, be prepared for, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. If it doesn't go as planned, close your eyes.
Right,
Run if you need to.
I'm always prepared for the worst, so don't you worry about that. Look, I'll only run if it goes horribly bad. I know I keep saying that I will run, but it's only in the worst of circumstances that I will actually try to, save my own skin. You can count on me to help you. I want you to know that. So if you need it, just say so.
Yes, but if I tell you run, you run.
Okay, sure. Sure. Okay.
It's like that scene in Harry Potter. If I tell you to run, run.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. It's funny.
Thinking just I hate taking orders, but all right, I'll take this order. Fine.
As you go down to the main hallway of this place, it seems that you come to a T with a torch, controlled burning, in the middle of a wooden wall. And all the wood down here is dark too. And from halfway down, there seems to be some kind of armor-like plating on the walls, almost a waist level all the way down, like a border. Okay. There's a steel railing in here, almost like it's in like a military vessel where people can hold on, like oh shit bars, made out of metal, line the sides of all the hallways in here, and it's a T intersection. Aselair stands there in the middle of it. He looks back over his shoulder, and he says to you, Sha-dae, from this moment on, we have to be silent. I need to focus. And he reaches down into a side pocket that he has. Remember, I said he has this long overcoat that has these large, like satchel-like pouches on the lower part of it, almost like a long admiral's jacket. He pulls up a vial and hands to you. And he hands it out and he says, this is all that I've had a chance to make. If one of you, and he comes in kind of close to you and he whispers this to you. Okay? And this is a real wake-up call to you, Sha-dae, okay? He says very gently and very seriously to you. He goes, if your helper becomes petrified by this, it is best to play the role and live to fight another day. If it is you that is bitten and stricken down, that is when you should use this. Pawns fall. It's a very serious moment, Sha-dae. And this isn't foreboding. This is just a heads up, okay? We must be silent from here on out.
Okay.
Leans up away from you and descends down the right-hand side of the hallway. It turns right for about 10 foot and goes down another stairway into what you would have to assume would be her quarters, Miasha. Sha-dae, everything else is on to the left. Her quarters and some of the more important folks that are on the ship, or the ambassador's quarters, are on the right. You have only maybe 30 more foot until you're at her door. What are you doing?
Okay. I go up to Miasha and I take the potion that Aselair gave me, actually. I palm it into her hand and be like, just in case. I whisper it, just in case.
She just sort of gives you a nod and just puts it somewhere safe.
As you do and you're looking around, your pet seems to have a piece of ribbon come up and sleek around it and hold it and then grasp it and tuck it back down away from you as if you have a living outfit on. And you have what do you want to whisper to in your mind? What do you want to say about it?
Just a quick thank you, and just use it when you feel it's right.
Okay. You hear a whatever this thing sounds like. That's what you hear. You interpret as, of course. Okay. As you go around that last corner and you descend down the other stairway, it's warmer down here than it was on the outside of the ship, and you can hear a low hum in the background, as if there's some kind of magical engine working in the inside of this thing that's being powered by Arcana. You can hear it hum through the walls. It really makes this place seem like a haunted military vessel of some kind. The light from the front door is all but gone now. There's nothing more but torchlight inside of this place and controlled balls that seem to just hover. It's not like flames. It's more like balls of flame that are controlled in a cylindrical shape that hover above torch-like mounts that are made of this metallic bronze armor like that hangs on the walls. As you go over to the door, the door, of course, is locked, and Aselair reaches down inside of his belongings and grabs a key and looks to both of you and signals you to stay here. Okay?
Sha-dae will move to where she can find some. I'm assuming the corridor is pretty dark, so like the darkest part of the corridor that she can, so where she can still see into the room from the doorway.
Okay. Is there any spells or anything either one of you would like to cast on yourself at this point to prepare yourself for what's going on?
Sha-dae will use 2 key points to cast silence centered on her.
And tell me how long that works for and what it entails.
Hold on, real quick.
I don't mean to quiz you, but it's important.
Yep.
While he's looking that
So
up.
it's
go
a
ahead.
20. So I've centered it on myself. It's concentration up to 10 minutes, and it is a 20-foot radius sphere. Yeah. So any casting. So what it is any casting that requires verbal components cannot. Plus, I'm immune from thunder damage, and people are deafened while inside this particular sphere.
Okay, are you centering that on yourself?
Yes, I'm centering it on myself.
Okay, now, if you want to be in that or not, Miasha, that's up to you. You see Sha-dae performing what looks like some kind of martial arts move in the air, almost like she's practicing some kind of incantation with her hands. And then you would see a vibration and a shimmer in the air around her. Almost like reality warped for just a second. Okay? What is it you are doing?
I would like to cast Pass Without Trace.
That's what I'm talking about.
Which just creates a veil of shadows and silence, so you get a +10 to your stealth checks. You can't be tracked except by magical means. It's within 30 feet. You don't leave any traces of your passage or your movement within an area for an hour.
And is that concentration on that?
Yes, it is concentration.
Okay. I know, I'm real familiar with it. It's an awesome thing to have. It's amazing how potent it is for how early on you can get it.
Yeah, it's my favorite spell. It's one of them anyway.
Remind me of that when I need to be reminded, okay? I'll do the best I can.
Okey-dokey.
So as Liar sticks the key into the lock and looks at the two of you and opens up the door, he is asking you stay there for a moment. He leaves the door cracked open, removes the key, and walks into the room. And you can hear slow, soft footsteps. And you hear a whispered voice. Gleandria, it's time. I'm here as you've asked of me. Are you rested and ready? I'm ready for the next step. Gleandria, you hear, takes a long, seductive-like sigh as she begins to wake herself up from her sleep. You can hear several snakes' heads hiss, unbridled, and not kempt properly yet because of this just waking from a deep sleep. You can hear that audibly. And then there's a voice. Remember, this is Sigourney Weaver. Okay. And the voice comes out and says, time for what, Aselair? We weren't starting anything tonight, were we? You hear a sigh come from Aselair. Says, no, Gleandria. No, you and I weren't doing anything tonight. he begins to say and sing some strange words. Okay? As you look up the hallway, you'll notice that the frost now has clinged and came up along the halls and has followed you guys down the hallway. That same glistening film seems to be covering the floor almost up to right where you guys are at, maybe a foot and a half away from you. Okay? Is anyone chancing to peer into the room, or are you guys staying tight to where you're at?
I mean, I'd like to snoop. I have no reason to. I don't like this guy. I'm not listening. I'm gonna look.
Okay. Roll a stealth check with your
Sure.
plus 10.
And yes, and my other modifier.
And you have a
Yes.
lot of modifiers to stealth, young lady.
Yes, this is I made a smart decision here. That's a 33.
Okay.
That's yes, that's the right math. 19 plus yes.
She had to doubt
yes.
herself. There's a 30. What? 33.
Yeah.
They have no idea you're looking inside. He begins to say this incantation. And whereas Gleandria was leaned up, and you look in and you see a female Medusa that is in a night robe, that has got her rapier in one hand and is getting ready to slip out of bed to stand up. And I don't know if you ever have met Gleandria or realized what she was before, but
No,
now
but
you're
that
getting...
comment about closing your eyes now makes so much sense to her.
She is a female Medusa.
Okay.
And she seems to be entranced by the words or something that he is saying. Now, with that stealth check, I want you to roll a perception check for me with advantage. There's a reason. Okay? Sha-dae, are you chancing to look in there as well?
Yes.
Roll me a stealth check.
Okay, hold on one moment. So I get plus 10 plus my incredible stealth. So that is a nat 20 plus 10
Oh, wow.
plus 7. So that's a 37.
Hell yeah.
You guys, I'm serious. I said ninja out loud, and ninja's what I got. Now,
Plus, she's already silent, so you can't even hear her speak up.
And I misspoke earlier. I want to make a point that, Rachel, when you were rolling that perception check, you're doing that normally, but you, Sha-dae, are doing it with advantage because there's something particularly that you're going to be wanting to notice that you notice in a lot of people. So first off, no, do you remember what your lower roll was? Or do you just want to re-roll?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I just re-rolled it.
Okay.
So it's a 16.
Okay, Sha-dae, what did you get?
My perception check is a 21.
You notice that her eyes begin to glaze over, and the Medusas seem to sway. Or not the Medusas, I'm such a dipshit. The basilisks and the serpents of her hair begin to sway as if they are underwater, as if they are enchanted somehow, as the words that Aselair is speaking is awakening something within her. And in perceiving that, Miasha, you're like, he wasn't lying. He's getting ready to waken up someone else. And you get that adrenaline like, this is it. This is actually happening. You, however, Sha-dae, notice something that sends ice in your veins.
Mm-hmm.
When this happens, you see Gleandria in less clothing that you're used to, and you know where that raven tattoo is on her body, correct?
Yes.
You remember the location exactly, or do I need to remind you?
I don't remember the location exactly, but
It was always in the lower under wrist, right here on the left.
Yeah.
when you see her using that hand to prop herself up on the bed, as she was kind of, the other arms laying like kind of seductively across her leg as she was getting out of bed, you go to that tattoo and you stare at it intensely. You see it with that natural 20, with that roll that you made just now, okay? You see it begin to change. And as it does, it literally becomes animated. Okay? You see what looks like the long tendril of a serpent begin to come up and wrap around the actual raven as if it's being strangled. And at the very end, you see the basilisk's head appear from behind it and bite down over top of the raven's head. And that is the new tattoo that is in place. Does that mean anything to you?
Immediately, Sha-dae thinks back to the city of Argonross and the interturmoil that she knows is going on between the city of Ravens and this rebellion of sorts, this other group that wants to take siege against the city of the New Gemdar.
Exactly. You're clued in then to what's going on here. This is that raven tattoo was just a front for what it really represents. And no one has ever really saw this. No one's that you know has ever talked about this or said this or anything of that nature. Hell, you're not even sure that Aselair can see what's happening. But you are seeing it. And you have connected dots and put things together. As that happens, you see her begin to be in a trance. As these words start to come over, and with that, you see something begin to start forming on the face of Gleandria. As she kind of begins to put herself into a sitting position on the bed and pushes herself up to a standing position as Aselair backs away, continuing with the chant, continuing the words, and she stares blankly into a wall where you know there's a mirror where she looks at herself at in the morning. Her eyes are glazed completely over at this point. And you can see her lips starting to use the same words that Aselair is, and they begin to say this in unison in whispered voices that echo in your all's heads. What do you do?
Immediately shadow. Is the mask fully formed on her face yet?
It is about 50% formed, and what you see is this wicked, long, pointed nose, almost like party mask. And to be honest, it almost looks like something they would have wore in the Labyrinth when David Bowie was in the dance scene. It's this large, elaborate, medieval, flamboyant mask that makes it look like an overly decorative goblin from here up, and then these large horns curl up, almost artistically and flamboyantly made. And the mask begins to come full. I'd say it's like 50% at this point. You see the snake's eyes are still waving back and forth as if they're submerged, and they are all glazed over as well. This is happening no more than 10 to 15 foot away from you guys inside the doorway. I will say that, Miasha, you are looking through the crack that the door made at the hinge, and Sha-dae is on the other side looking through the opening. So I'll give you guys one free action to look at each other and decide or give each other a nod or whatever the fuck you want to do here, because it's getting ready to get serious.
I turn to Miasha and I simply nod, and I actually, if possible, I telepathically command Isadora to sit on Miasha's shoulder, and as soon as that happens, as soon as Sha-dae sees the mask is fully formed, she's going to shadow step right behind Gleandria and try and see if she can get off a sneak attack.
Okay. This raven that has a tracer of two other versions of itself seems to sit down almost as if it's moving in and out of time. Has a purple necrotic glow to it, comes over and sits down on your shoulder very gently and does not place itself on the shoulder where your pet is. It is not ignorant. It goes over the other shoulder that is not draped with this. Okay? After it places itself on your shoulder, it gives you a look and cocks its head, kind of like birds do, kind of quick, and looks throughout the door like that and clears itself and spreads its wings once, preparing itself for something, but does not seem to be threatening you. Miasha, what are you doing in this free moment?
So Miasha would nod back and take sort of the opportunity that once Sha-dae sort of moves in, to move through the doorway in that crack to be ready if something goes wrong to rush in there.
Okay, 75% now. The mask seems to be taking on a glow and picking up light from the room as it begins to become fully in. And as it does, Miasha, your hearing is better than anyone else's. You hear different distant cackles in the shadows back in the hallways from beyond. You hear the little it sounds like little devilish goblins cackling to themselves from out of the shadows. They're starting to wake up. Okay, so when you guys hear this stuff, what are you doing?
Well, technically, Sha-dae doesn't hear anything because she's still surrounded by silence.
Right. What's your reaction to that, Miasha, as you hear that?
Might just very sort of, I can't really talk to Sha-dae, but just kind of.
Okay, roll.
Do I have limited telepathy thanks to that my companion?
You do at
or is
all
it
times.
only between myself and the companion? Is it
Only
like
between yourself
myself
and the companion. Only between
Okay.
yourself and it.
Okay, that's fine. I might just not do anything. I might just okay. I take in the
Sometimes the
information.
best move is no move. Yeah. Boy, if I could have told myself
I've
that
heard.
growing up. Right on. So anyway, with that, and thank you too for hanging in there. This is about ready to get interesting, so I appreciate your patience. Okay, hope you're as entertained by this shit as I am. At that last moment, you see the mask become full, as if possibly you could put your hands on it and touch it. Sha-dae, you see that she is beginning to robe herself. And oh no, I'm sorry, she's not dressing herself. Aselair is beginning to dress her as he continues this. And now it's a role reversal. Now the words seem to be spoken louder from Gleandria than Aselair is, because he has just pretty much started this in motion. And now he is putting a gauntlet on her arm. And he is reaching down and grabbing a boot and letting her slide her foot in. And she's very selectively, very perfectly doing this as she's getting dressed with her just staring forward like this, saying words.
So the mask is fully formed, right?
Yeah, and he looks over back at you and gives you a nod as this is happening. Okay.
Immediately behind Gleandria, and I pop her right in the back of the head.
Okay. So, with a fist?
Yeah, with my fist. I don't have any kind of dagger or anything. It's just I want to just catch her off before she has any chance to gain any kind of armor or anything like that.
Okay. The hit is automatic, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only do you have sneak attack from being a rogue on it, but she's unarmored, she's unaware, she's not trying to dodge you, she's not trying to block you with a weapon. You did a perfect ambush in this. Now, the question is, does the silence travel with you?
Yes.
No, I think
Yes. No,
yes.
it's a fixed. It's a fixed point. So it's there's a bubble of silence outside of the room.
Yeah.
It travels with me, but silence stays in one spot.
Okay, so you've affixed it to a place, so when you jump in there, the silence stays in the hallway.
Yeah,
Okay.
Silence stays in the hallway.
Okay, I believe it's accurate. That's why I wanted to ask you now, before you got in there, because it could have worked different ways. It's all up to you,
Yeah.
okay? I think Heather's back there grinning because she's getting ready to throw some rules at you or something. She's back there sneaking something, I can tell. Heather, is there anything you want to add to this? Oh, she's sitting up. You're
I'm
deep
sorry.
shit, Sean.
No. Kara just made the cat roll a d20 and he rolled a 20. And so I'm using that d20 for the rest of the night.
I swear. No, I would. Okay. So as that happens, Rachel, all of a sudden, the shadows swirl. Boom. Sha-dae is gone. Okay. Go ahead just for the hell of it and roll an attack, and I'm curious as to what you got here, Sha-dae.
So that is a total of with my fist. That is a total of 30. I rolled a 19 plus 11.
You did really well. So
Yeah.
you have succeeded in that. You have placed it. Roll damage for this attack. Now, you want to do this? This is a sneak attack, but are you wanting to add anything else extra to this? I know you're doing the stunning strike.
Yeah, stunning strike.
Okay, go ahead and roll what the damage for this strike would be typically.
So that would be a 6 total, plus weapons master, which I think it was.
You want to use the D4 or the D6?
The D6.
Yeah, seems to be a big one.
So that's additional 3, so that's 6, that's 9. I don't think I get sneak attack because I'm using my fist.
No, you
Because
should
Yeah, you do.
Not a
I do?
robot.
Okay, then that's an additional
Oh.
D6. So 10 points of damage total.
Okay. All right, now you're doing a stunning strike. So here's the big.
Yes, and a stunning strike.
Now you have to roll the DC
Mhm.
of your stunning strike. That's a 1d20 plus what for you?
That would be my dexterity, right? Or
Do you remember?
stunning. Oh yeah, it's my magic stuff, so it's plus 6 to that.
Yes, it's your wisdom bonus plus your proficiency bonus.
Yeah. Okay. And I get advantage on that because I'm using my inspiration.
You do. Make sure to mark that off.
Yeah. So that is a total of 25.
25.
Yeah.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 19.
Okay.
And then at first I rolled like a 5 and then I rolled a 19. So I was like, oh.
Okay. So we got 25.
Yeah.
It's a stunning striker. That's your first attack.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a big one, guys. What is that? What is that? A 1. That couldn't have worked out any better, dude. Oh my goodness, that's a natural 1. No joke. Well, that worked out really good for you, man. Be damned. Even with the bonuses that she has and things like that, in this trance, and you catching this right here, stunning strike is effective with the roll of a natural 1. As you go back and you hit onto the back of the heads, the snakes turned around and seemed to see you before she did. As like 5 or 6 of them turned around and begin to rear back and their eyes begin to uncloud. And as this happens, you took your fist and you just come back and you do a rocking punch to the back of her head. And as you do this, you see the snakes fall limp and she falls into Aselair's arms in a slow motion move. Okay? Then something very interesting happens. Okay? Miasha, what were you doing in that instant?
Waiting to see if it went well. And it has.
Okay.
So that's good. Now the goal is to get the mask off, correct?
Correct.
So with a stunning strike, she would be reasonably, let's say, like off kilter.
She's unconscious. Yeah.
Yeah, so we could just realistically run in, grab it, take it off.
In a perfect world, yes.
Okay, well, I want to try it because we don't live in a perfect world, but I can pretend we do.
Okay, so I'm going to say I want you to roll a dexterity check to see how quickly you're able to get there from the time it was knocked off the back of the head till she's falling forward to Aselair's trying to catch her as she's falling. I just want to see how this unfolds.
All right. That is an 18.
Total.
Yeah, 18 total.
Okay. And let's say, Heather, just for the hell of it, roll me a 1d20 plus a 1d6. 12. Okay, faster than that. Okay, and Sha-dae, roll me an initiative roll just for the hell of it. And you are muted, Sean, by the way.
That's a 21.
Okay, so that works out pretty good. You went first. After you did, she's falling. Aselair acts slower to this than Rachel's character did. Rachel's character trumps Aselair's reaction to this. Okay? So with you doing this the way you did and hitting with a stunning strike, with a very hard hit, we're going to say this. You come running into the room, Rachel. All right? And as he strikes her in the back of the head and she goes to fall forward, the mask comes off from the force of the blow and is falling to the floor. Okay? Aselair is not quick enough to catch it, and you've rolled an 18 in the initiative order. You're going next. Okay? So I have to decide if you're able to intercept this before it hits the floor. Okay? You rolled an 18, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're running in there quickly and you're seeing this thing going down towards the floor. Okay? You have an instant to act. It is 10 foot away from you. And you can see this going on. What is something you can do to tell me that you would be able to get over there in time to get this thing before it hits the floor?
I do have Misty Step. I can move 30 feet forward just as a bonus action, which is in D&D speak like 2 seconds.
Does it say it takes 2 seconds or is it instantaneous?
Well, no, it's instantaneous, but as a bonus action, as a casting time, that's like a 2 second cast. If I remember.
That's true.
Right, yeah, sorry, my mistake, sorry. Yes, it's instantaneous.
We'll do this. Kara. In a 1d4, 1 and 2, and it's going to be too quick for her to be able to Misty Step and catch. 3 and 4, she'll be able to get over there just in time to be able to get underneath of it. We're talking about seconds here from the head kicking to the maybe shock of how the neck goes and throws it onto the floor. So roll me a 1d4. Tell me what you get.
3.
It is slow enough. Because of the way she's hit and the way the head jars back first, almost like when you see a person get into a wreck, the head goes back first, then it goes forward. The mask goes flying off, and you are able to get there and catch it just before it hits the floor. Is that what you are wanting to do, or were you okay with just letting it go?
No, I'm happy catching it. I am happy catching it.
Okay. The second that you do, you hear Aselair gasp. I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Okie dokie. Where's my wisdom save? There it is. 19.
Okay, that's interesting. As that happens, you hold on to it for just a moment, and it stops you. Hey, turn that off, please. Yeah. Okay. So as your hands touch it, you all of a sudden, for just a minute, you hear the cackles of the goblins in the background. As you're holding it there for a minute, Aselair comes over and is saying something to you, but his lips are moving, but no words are coming out. It's almost like a person that, like you're almost in a shell shock state. And you hear all these goblins and their whispers get very loud and get close to your ears. You look around and you can see the sets of eyes just hiding just within the shadows. They're saying things to you. They're saying, let us go. Release us. Yes, we're ready to kill. Let us go. We're ready. We follow your orders. Let us go. And they're waiting for you to release them. And all of a sudden you hear this, you feel the pounding, their voices multiplying, getting louder and louder inside your head. You are just barely able to force them back as you surpassed the saving throw by 2.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you were super close. And as this happens, Sha-dae, you've hit Gleandria in the back of the head with the first punch. Head went forward, mask flew off. Aselair goes to try to catch her in his arms. Miasha comes in, saves it just before it hits the ground, and all of a sudden is frozen in some kind of state that the mask is putting her through. You've used 1 attack and your bonus action to do the shadow step. What are you doing now?
Can I command, if you allow, can I command Isadora to grab the mask out of her hands and just place it on the bed?
Yes, you can. I'll let that be your free action. That's just a mental thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So now in comes the problem. What are you doing for the rest of your turn now? Because the bird can act faster than you can. It'll probably act on the end of your turn. So what are you doing?
Yeah. I guess for that, I'd just probably like try and help Aselair catch Gleandria's body. I guess that's all I can do at that point.
Okay. Okay, you have like 6 seconds till she's unstunned. And you don't know what version of her you're going to get.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Then for that, I would just take the dodge action and just wait for her to come to and see what happens.
Okay, I like it. So you're preparing yourself for what's going to happen as you're standing up on the bed behind her. With that, go ahead and roll initiative for Isadora to see where she goes at in this turn.
Doesn't she go right after me?
Yeah, typically she does.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and let that happen. That's fine.
Okay.
We can go ahead and let that happen. That's fine. I like it.
Okay, yeah.
So Isadora comes down and goes to grab out of your hands, Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
You are kind of in a daze yourself from touching the thing. You are going to you're going to have to roll a strength check with disadvantage.
Okay. So, fair warning, this is going to be pretty.
I know.
Oh, it's 13. Could be worse.
Okay. Roll a strength check for Isadora, Sean.
Okay. That is a 14, actually.
I swear, what a night.
Nice.
Okay. There you go. As that happens, all of a sudden, all those voices stop. Isadora has grabbed onto the mask and takes it and flies up and perches herself in the door on the other side of the way, on top of the door. And the mask is turned against the door, facing you all eerily. Looks like the door is wearing this thing in a strange turn of events. And all of a sudden, all the whispers stop. But you can still feel your heartbeat. What happened to him? Where did they go? Okay. Gleandria is stunned. Aselair's turn is now because he wasn't fast enough to catch her. Aselair is going to say to you, Miasha, he's going to say, get down. And you see him reaching underneath of his long coat and grabbing out that long saber-like sword and bringing it up like this with a straight-armed arc and having it match on top of his hands, holding it high above his head. What are you doing?
Miasha is sort of still dazed. I think once the mask was out of her hand, she might have sort of backed, sort of stumbled back a few steps.
Okay.
And then when Aselair speaks, she sort of, what?
Okay. As that happens, Aselair is going to run across there. Okay. It says some words you would not be familiar with at all, but they seem to be mightily spoken words. And as they do, there seems to be a sheen of ice form across the blade of this thing as he goes walking across there like in super swift steps. And as he takes the blade and brings down across this mask, okay, it splits the mask in two, but the blade breaks. And when the blade breaks, upon hitting that, all of a sudden there seems to be steam and necrotic flames that wrap around Aselair's arms as he falls to his knees and is crippled, and his fingers, you can hear them actually bones cracking inside of his hands. It's like this, and he's like yelling, and he's putting his head down to try to bear the pain of what's happening as he falls to his knees. And then all the ice and stuff that you've seen form in the hallway and stuff like that becomes steam as well. And you hear goblin voices, you do as well, Sha-dae, begin to cackle and begin to say things. Yes, a new master. A new one. We must find another master. And there's these evil voices coming out. It makes you think, oh, shit. What has happened? Okay? So, upon that, Aselair looks up with a gasping breath and looks to you, Miasha, and says, this is where you come in. Fingers are a mess, arms burnt from this. Sha-dae, what are you doing?
Sha-dae will immediately leap from the bed and like get in between Miasha and Aselair.
Okay. Pause that. Now, Karen Heather, you are upstairs. You are up there. Tamyra is at the bottom. Lydia is down there. Miasha was going to go to the middle of the place and start to do her thing and be the bait there, but never made it that far. Then you have Sylowen at the very top.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just realized I had something. So
Yes.
Can I use my movement to get in between them and then use that spell scroll of messaging that I got? Or is that going to take a whole turn?
That would take your action to use, but that's movement in action, so you can do that on your turn.
Okay, so I want to use, but this is just a reaction, right? Or is this my actual turn?
For theatrical purposes, go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to do is use my movement to get in between Miasha and Aselair, but I want to use that sending scroll.
Yes.
And send a message to Kara really quickly, like, come to the Dreadnaught. Bring everyone to the Dreadnaught, for the night is dark and full of terrors. We need you.
Okay. So here's the way this goes down.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that,
Mm-hmm.
the shadows in this ship begin to grow. And on the edges, and on the inside edges of the shadows, seem to be the shapes of fingers reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Aselair looks at you both and says, run. Okay?
Okay.
As that happens, go ahead. What?
No, go ahead. Continue.
Okay. As that happens, I want to break to Tamyra down at the bottom. Tamyra, you just got this message. This desperate, fast-winded message. You could even have swore that they missed a word in there somewhere. This panic voice coming from Sha-dae, very untypical. Sha-dae usually works very hard to make herself sound as pleasant and unimpressed as possible. This is a different sounding Sha-dae than you've heard. It says what again, Sean?
Gather everyone to the Dreadnaught, for the night is dark and full of terrors. Come now.
Okay. When you do that, roll a perception check for me. And that'd be Kara.
I am proficient in wisdom. Oh, it was a nat 1.
Okay. You look around, you look over at Lydia. She seems to be wandering and doing her thing. Doesn't seem to be drawing any attention. You think not much of it. You see nothing around. You head that direction like you're going towards Skywell. Do you wish to give her a signal that you're going that direction like you've heard something?
No, I don't want Lydia to know anything about it.
Okay. All right. You head that direction. Now, Sean, help me out here. Ignatious was going to go with you, but when the plan changed and he knew that he didn't need to use this item, he departed and he was going to be on Skywell where he could fly to wherever it was needed the quickest, correct?
Yes, that was the.
Okay. So we're going to leave that alone for a minute. Here's what you see, Sylowen. Okay. As you're out there, you're at the fountain. In the distance, you're out there all alone. You've been singing for probably about 10, 15 minutes now, off and on. And you're taking a break for a minute, and you kind of take a deep breath, and the temperature is starting to go outside, and the snow is falling heavy enough now where it gets caught in your eyelashes. It is starting to snow fairly heavy up here. You look down one particular corridor of Skywatch, the upper part, one that seems to be past Leah's cuisine, and there's this long kind of like alleyway. It has a lot of different houses, and some of the lights are on, some are not. And you hear something with your very delicate hearing, and you hear multiple voices, small, evil little voices that begin to echo and overchime themselves coming from that direction. You get a sense of dread about you as you have a feeling that maybe they've taken the bait. What do you do?
I mean, I guess I would try to surreptitiously let Daehan know that I hear something. I mean, I'm assuming we have hand signals that we agreed upon beforehand, right?
Perfectly fine. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do me a performance check, please, to see how well you're able to convey that.
Performance +6. That's gonna be a 17.
17. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Daehan perched up in one of the balconies on the crow's nest, watching down as you were by that fountain?
Not far.
Okay. I do not. No. He was able to pick up on your message. Okay.
Right.
You see his head turn that way, and he almost strains and narrows his eyes. You have amazing vision. I've told you this before. Your eyes are larger than a regular human's, and you're able to see the expression on his face as he nods. And he squints his eyes and points his head in that direction like a hunter trying to listen for wolves off in the distance. As this happens, you start to make out shapes darting back and forth in between the buildings up ahead of you.
Okay.
And you hear voices start to say and talk about things, and then every once in a while they reference you. It's like, did you hear her sing? She sings pretty. Listen to that voice. Who is she? Do you think the master wants her? I think we do. And they start getting dark. And they start to sound like a bunch of evil children almost trying to plot on what they're going to do with you. And then you start hearing things like murder her. You start to hear very unpleasant things. I would like for you to do a wisdom saving throw, please.
It's gonna be an 18.
Okay. With a 16 DC, you were almost feared and almost had to run away, but you're able to withstand it. So you were able to find some kind of resolve deep down inside yourself. And although it was fight or flight time for you, you know, you're feeling your body, your armor's not there. And you're kind of looking around and you're looking up at Dahan knowing he's got your stuff, and you're able just to hold your resolve together, and it does not scare you away. You're here for a purpose. Okay? As that happens, we will say that Dahan, which he has a war horn that he can use, there is a sign that you know when you see these things and they're coming after you that you're to give him the sign to blow this war horn, to draw people's attention to that location. Okay? This is meeting some of those criteria, although you're not being attacked directly. You are seeing them jump back and forth between buildings up ahead as if they're coming towards you all. Off in the distance, about 100 yards away. What are you doing?
Wait, so he's not blown the horn yet?
He's waiting for your signal to blow the horn.
How close are they?
100 yards.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and they're coming your way.
I mean, they'll be close enough. What? Probably in at least 2 turns. I guess I'm gonna just continue to play my damsel in distress and just be like, "Who's there?" And just be like, try to feel out what's going on.
Okay, cool. When do you want to yell at him to do this? What is the trigger for you?
As soon as they get within, like, I don't know, probably. I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna fight them, so within 80 feet.
Is that what you're thinking? About 80?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
How many are there? Do I see?
roll a perception check.
$16.
You can't make it out because they seem like they're not completely formed. You see almost like ghosts and shadowy images of things bouncing back and forth. You'll catch a reflection of a set of eyes every once in a while. Several.
Okay,
You
how many
just
voices
don't-
am I hearing?
Over 20.
Holy shit. Okay. I guess with that information, I'm gonna go ahead and signal Dahan.
Okay. As you do, just tell me how you do it. I'm curious. Just make something up.
I scream.
Okay. So if that doesn't work, nothing will. As you do that, Dahan bounds down, or first he pulls out the war horn that he has, which is the horn of an actual behemoth that he has. It's almost like a seashell kind of curl. It's really dark amber in color, and blows this thing loudly. When it does, you know that the cavalry's on the way. Tamyra, you hear this echoing down the stairway. Okay? And as it does, Sylowen, there's something that you see that you didn't expect. As you scream like that and look around, all of a sudden an apparition of someone very, very familiar to you appears within 15 foot of you with a sword drawn and you've never seen this before. It's Merc.
Oh.
In a celestial transparent transparent version of himself. He seems like he's not completely whole, but his spirit and stuff somehow has been there and has been watching over you. And when you screamed like this, the body came into our realm and formed up. And when he speaks, his words echo and trace off behind him for several different seconds. He says to you as he jumps out in the air, whips over to one side, and he has this long two-handed sword, which looks just like the same one that Brahmas wields in his own hands, the actual construct. And as he does, it's him. It's the guy that you meet in there, only he's in the outside world. And you have no idea how this is possible. Yeah. And he says, "Are they near?"
And I say, "Yes, within 100 yards."
Well, then be armed. Be ready. Where is your lance?
Daehon has it.
Daehon is now bounding, and he's hanging off that balcony and starting to climb down the wall. A large man, but fairly agile for the type person he is. You could imagine him hunting and being very cunning in this nature. Your large lance is across his back as he is crawling down the actual side of the crow's nest bar and heading towards you. He looks over, and this person, this symbol, he says, he looks off in the distance and sees that these things are coming and the shadows are starting to form. And he takes his sword and he plants it into the ground. He says, "I'll be right back. Hold them off until I return." And as he says that, he plants the sword into the ground. He says a word, and all of a sudden his hair blows back and Merc is gone. You have to assume he is returning back with the body.
Okay.
And he is getting ready to make his way towards you. So, little information there, he was watching over you in a spiritual form somehow. You've never seen that one before. Okay? Jeremy and I discussed this earlier today, which is really cool. It's a new ability he got at level 10. It's really neat. So, as that's happening, Daehon, Danny's character, my character, drops down from the balcony and is rushing over to you. Large man, he's bounding. He's heavily muscled. The vest and stuff looks like it's about ready to come off of him as he's trying to hold his stuff and put his horn away. And he's trying to unleash your lance and your armor. And his hands are full and shit. And he's kind of hefting over towards you. And he stops and he looks at you for a minute and he says, "You should turn around. I don't think we have much time." And he's going to help put this shit on.
All right, let's do this.
As the shadows grow, roll a dexterity check.
Um, 17.
Ooh, shit. 11.
Don't you dare kill me.
Well, he's trying to help you out. And as the voices are getting closer and closer, you look over, and it's not just from that hallway. They seem like you're hearing things and you're seeing things run along rooftops now and all kinds of shit. And he's looking up, and it's almost like a horror movie when you're trying to get the keys in the ignition, but they're just not wanting to go. He's trying to get you decked out. Let's stop there for just a minute. Tamyra, you hear the horn go off after you've heard the message. You're at the bottom of Skywell. Is there anything you're trying to do to get your ass up there as quickly as possible? What would you pull out your bag of tricks if you were to do that?
Well, I don't. Hold on.
And if you don't have anything, it's fine. I'm just giving you a chance to search for that.
I was like, can I cast Heaven's Gate on myself and teleport myself 100 feet?
Uh-huh.
Well, then yes, I would like to cast my Heaven's Gate and teleport myself 100 feet, closer to...
Straight up the stairwell.
Yes.
That is baller. I forgot you could do that. All right. So you're at the bottom there, and you're getting ready to go up the steps, and you look at him, you're like,
Fuck this.
Kaboom! Right? Because you're doing this, you're literally Metallica riding the lightning right up through the center of this sucker. You are making your way there quickly. Inside the ship again. We'll get back to you guys, okay? Inside the ship again. Rachel. As we are holding on to things like this, seemingly in a lot of pain and been hurt severely, says to you and he, run. Okay? Gleandra's snakes on her head begin to start to move and twitch. Almost they're coming out of a long slumber, almost like when a person's waking up from a dream. Sha-dae, you're looking down upon this. The shadows start to grow, and all of a sudden you see some hands start to reach out. And then you see all of a sudden one of the shadows run across and run into Aselair and run into him and almost enter his body. Okay? As you see the narcotic flames around his arms spark up again, you hear him screech out, yell out in pain as he does this. And as he does, he takes his hand and it becomes liquid and like it's made out of water. Okay? And he reaches down to his chest and throws out a shadow that entered him, and it goes into a wall. And as it flies into the wall, it turns around and you see the head of one of these shadow goblins come out of the wall, almost like it's peering through a window. It just shows its teeth and looks at him angrily. You start to see multiple heads in here. What are you guys doing?
What about you? We can't just leave you here.
Run. I'll be right behind you.
Okay, yep. All right, she takes a deep breath and goes.
As you hit the main hallway, you can see that something is attacking, and you see dark fingers reaching on to these light orbits that are around these torches. It's almost like little fingers trying to put them out. The floor that you saw before seems more narrowed. There's almost shadow-like substance, almost like this mystic dark purple and black smoke is filling up the far corners of the hallway and starting to close in. You see opening mouths. You see sets of red eyes and shit. As you're headed out that way, do you stop to wait for him, or are you trying to barrel down the hallway and get out of this thing?
I'm gonna stop and wait until it becomes unsafe to do so.
Okay. Sha-dae, what are you doing?
Sha-dae is going to see if she can grab Gleandra and like get her out of there.
Okay, so you're going to try to take her out with you.
Yes.
Okay, it's going to reduce your movement by half. And it's going to take a strength check to do it. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, roll me a strength check.
That is a 15.
Okay. As you go to grab onto her and stuff, she comes to from being stunned. And she looks around, and her snakes whip wildly as she looks to you, and her eyes open up dully, and she says weakly, she says your name, Sha-dae. As she holds on to around your neck. You're barely strong enough to lift her. You're not a strong person. And as she puts her foot down, barely, she looks at Aselair, and she says, Aselair? Sha-dae. Oh, my. And she looks across the room, just absolutely stunned by what's happening. Okay?
Okay.
She looks at you, and she grabs onto you, and she pushes you away from her. As it does, it's almost like a mom and a daughter fighting for the first time. It absolutely shocks the crap out of you as she put her hands on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And she looks at the walls like this, and she hisses loudly. You see her mouth open. You can see the fangs in her mouth. As she grabs out both of her rapiers and twirls them, holds them to the side, and the snakes' heads start to look around all over the place, their eyes starting to shine that dull glow. It means bad things are about to happen to somebody. And as she stands off in the room, she goes, "It's me they want. Leave here." She says like that, and with a word, she casts Thunder Wave. Okay. Roll me dexterity saving throws, Miasha and Sha-dae.
Sha-dae has a total of 14.
Okay.
So just one
That's
at
you,
a
Rachel.
time, or
What's that?
so is it just one at a time?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and roll yours. Your saving
So
throw.
that is a 26.
Okay. You are clever enough to go up the hallway a little bit, so the blast would have to be blasted out of the doorway, but would leave you out of it. But everyone caught inside the room, you could have possibly ducked down behind a chair or behind the bed or behind something else, Sha-dae, but you were so caught by her pushing you away that you caught the full blast of this thing. Okay, everything in this room, including Aselair. No, Aselair rolled a natural 20. Aselair books out the door and goes to the other side, standing to the other side of the outside doorway, kind of like the position that you and Miasha were at the beginning of this. Okay? And the blast fills the room and knocks all these shadow goblins back into the shadows in the walls, although you're not sure how long it'll last. The damage from that, however, though, Sha-dae, you're going to take.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Where was your silence at? It was outside, wasn't it?
That was outside. I've already dropped it at this point.
Okay.
With all the things going on, I couldn't have maintained concentration on it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, let me roll some dice here real quick. Okay, and this one hurts. This is 26 points of sonic thunder damage.
Okay.
That explodes from this room. It flips the bed. It breaks the mirror that was on the wall. And there's a loud sound. And you hear this, Tamyra, as soon as you come out of your spell. At the very top, near the very top of Skywell, you hear this go off in the distance coming from the airships. This loud, thunderous boom. Okay? As it does, we're going to roll 1d20. Sean, I'm going to have Kara roll it for you. 1 through 10, this thunder wave throws you in the direction of the door. 11 through 20, it throws you in the direction of the wall on the opposite side of the door.
Okay.
7.
Okay. You get thrown, that being damn near in the middle of the heap, you get thrown into the wall just right beside the door. Rachel, as you're outside, you hear a slam outside your side of the wall as this has thrust something in there around like a rag doll. What are you? Oh, you were doing your defensive stance, weren't you?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh no,
for you
that
here?
was a few turns. That was a few turns ago.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, what does that? So once that's happened,
I just take the full brunt of the
okay.
attack.
Now it's 26. All right.
Yeah.
So with that, she turns and watches the walls, and she's waiting for things to reform and get out. And you can see the shadows already are starting to build themselves back up again. And she says to you in hurried words, she goes, taking me from here saves no one. Kill the original 3. Kill the original 3, and the curses. Kill the original 3, she says again. And then she cuts through a piece of board as one of the heads starts to come out. But what she does, she cuts through the mouth of it, giving it almost like a Joker-like smile, and the face fades back into the wall again. You're not exactly sure what she means, but you know she wants you to get the hell out of here.
Okay. Sha-dae clambers to her feet and then tries to shadow step out of there. take it back into the hallway and
Okay.
just get everybody to just start running.
Okay, you do that. You shadow step. You're outside in the hallway now, and Rachel, Sha-dae is right beside you again. Looks hurt. Hair
Bleeding from the ears.
Yeah, bleeding from the ears a little bit. I mean, looks like whatever was in that room, it went off. You saw the force that came out of that door with it, made you turn from it. I mean, it was rough. You can see Aselair is back there holding his arms like this and trying to wrap him up in whatever he's got on. And he's trying to make his way out the door, running just like a injured soldier, trying to make his way down this hallway. As he does, there's 2 attacks of opportunity to go against him. That one misses, and that one misses with a 6 and a 4. As little arms of black claws and shit reach out from the hallways and tries to cut at him as he's running out to get on top of the ship. What are you guys doing?
Is he struggling at all?
No, he's booking. He's hurting. He's not moving as fast as you guys will. But in these arms that tried to hit him, he was able to dodge and maneuver around them where they didn't get him. So he's doing okay.
Okay, this is fine. I might just put a hand on Sha-dae's shoulder and then just book it to the end, just sort of as a sort of lure of comfort, like yep, she's here, cool, we're going.
Okay. So with you going through the hallway, you get 1 attack of opportunity against you. That's a 19.
That does not hit.
Okay. As you're able to maneuver and dodge through there. With Sha-dae, are you following suit? Miasha's put her hand on your shoulder. You guys are running out if you choose to. Bird is ahead of you. Isidore is on her way.
But what Sha-dae is going to do is she's going to attempt to just shadow step her way all the way out.
Okay, now how much MP does that take every time you do it?
Shadow step is an automatic thing.
It's the bonus action, right?
Yeah, it's a bonus action.
Okay.
So like shadow step and then I guess sprint and use my full movement to get out.
Okay, how many feet can you shadow step?
I remember correctly, shadow step gets me. Hold on one moment.
Okay. It's 30 or 60, I don't know.
Shadow step is 60 feet.
Okay. And you can't go through anything, but you can get to the door.
I can't, I can't go through anything, but as long as I can see the space where I'm trying to get to, I can.
And now you're going to the end of the hallway, correct?
Yeah.
Where you'd have to make a right, then another left to be up top.
Yeah.
Because you're at the end of one of the ends of the tuning fork. You're running,
right?
And you've got to run and then go through the base. Okay. When you come to Miasha, you feel as you're pulling on the shoulder, all of a sudden your hand goes through nothing, and you see Sha-dae appear like at the very end of the hallway, getting ready to book out of here, catching up with Isidora as Isidora's claws grab onto the back of Sha-dae's cloak.
How far back is Aselair from us? Like you said, he was behind us, yeah?
Well, he's already ramped the hallway, and I'm waiting you ramp the hallway, so I'd say he's following about 10 or 15 foot behind you guys, just trying to make his way.
I might wait for him to catch up and then cast Long Strider on myself and on him, which gives him an extra 10 feet of increased movement for an hour.
It's fantastic. How many, can you affect more than one person with that?
Yes, so if I increase the spell's level, I can.
Okay.
So instead of casting it at first, I'll cast it at second level.
Okay, make sure to mark off the magic points, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. With that, at the end of the hallway, oh, shit. Sean, I rolled a 4.
Yeah. Okay.
24 to hit?
Miss.
That's a natural 19. 28 to hit.
28 hits, but does not breach.
Okay. Okay, 9 points of necrotic damage, and that goes. Now, necrotic damage goes through armor.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to be 9 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
That's a miss. And that's a miss. Okay. So, as this little hand reached out and caught you in just the right way, it reached through your body, almost went through your armor like a ghost hand in this pure form down inside of this ship. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Hold on. Hold on for a minute. I'm trying to think this through. No, it has to deal with your armor. You're fine. The 9 points of damage you would have took as non-lethal damage, and your armor points. What is the damage resistance of your armor? Is it 4?
I think so. Sorry, I'm trying to find my phone. Where did I put my phone? I don't know where it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's 4.
Right,
it's like leather. So that would have done 2 points to your armor points, and you would have taken 9 non-lethal from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just keep that written down. Keep that in mind, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Once you get to the T, all of a sudden it seems as if the other two have got extra pep in their step, and they are rushing past you guys. Are you guys wanting to get all the way out to the deck of the ship? Is that your goal, Miasha?
Yeah, I'd say that was definitely my goal.
Okay. As you do, 3 attacks of opportunity as you're running up the hallways. That's a miss. That's a miss. That's a natural 19, which I believe was on this one in particular is 28.
That does hit, but doesn't breach.
Okay. So you would take 8 points of necrotic damage, and that goes to you simply because you really don't have armor on. You have And I wanted to mention something to you. You're not adding your charisma bonus into your armor class. You have an armored stuff where you can add your charisma to your armor class primary, which raises it 3 or 4 more.
Oh. Hold on.
As long as you're not surprised or anything like that, and as long as you are in mode, you get your charisma bonus added on to your armor class. That's one of the first things your kit gives you.
So it's a skill bonus. It's with the evade, dexterity, and skill bonuses? Or...
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's already in there. It's all good.
Oh, is it added in already?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it earlier, but that's cool. I'll trust you. All right.
I hope so.
Right on. It's like amongst unarmored defense, they get their wisdom bonus to theirs. You get your charisma to yours.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, so you have your dexterity. Then you have your skill points you used on evasion.
Uh-huh.
Then you have your proficiency bonus to block things with your hand.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then you should also have your charisma bonus added in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that. That's all good.
Okay, cool. All right, so you got hit with that 8 points of damage. Okay, necrotic. And let's see how Aselair did. 2. That's a miss. That's a miss. Aselair's doing pretty damn good, too. He's
Good.
booking.
I'm wasting spells on him. He better be.
So you guys, I want to say you make it all the way. You bust through the door, and you're out onto the deck of the ship. When you crack the door open as loudly as you did, you can see in a distance that you have got Aeolus's attention, as he was almost even with the ramp that goes up to the Dreadnaught as he'd been pacing back and forth. Or no, he would have heard the thunder blast. When you open up that door and stuff, he's only about 30 foot out from you with the double-armed, the Sky Dragon musket in his hands, okay? And he's looking at you as you come flying up out of there. As you do, there's little shadowy arms and stuff grabbing at where the feet would be. And you're kind of just bounding out past it. Aselair comes out hurt the way he has been. Miasha, you're going to do about one more shadow step. We're going to see if anything gets you on the way. Okay, just a minute here. Miss. Miss. And a miss. 3 more arms reached out to grab you. I'm going to say as you got to the first corner, you just jumped to the right,
Mhm.
and then you saw the main hallway, and you can do another step the rest of the way up there.
Yeah.
Okay. That puts you on the deck with the other two. Aeolus is there, and he sees these hands, this, that, and the other, and he looks past you for a minute. He looks in your eyes, he looks in Miasha's eyes, and he reaches back into his coat like he's grabbing some kind of, he's looking for something that he has that's going to help.
Uh-huh.
And then he says, I got this. Maybe I'll get free rides if I can stop this shit now. And he pulls out some special shells, and he starts throwing in some stuff and arming this gun as he's walking up to the door. What are you guys doing? When you come outside here, you're hearing the horn blow. Again, what are you guys doing? You know what the horn means.
Sha-dae is gonna like collapse onto the floor, roll up, and throw her hand up and cast minor illusion to cause like a red flare to appear over the Dreadnaught.
Okay, well done. Well done. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you do that, you throw it over top of the Dreadnaught or where the horn is? Oh, okay, the Dreadnaught. Okay,
yeah.
No, that's perfectly fine. Okay. At that point, let's go ahead and cut back. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and do a 15-minute break. Then we'll finish this and get into some more scrapping here, okay? So I'm going to pause recording, and then we'll talk for a second, and then we'll go on our 15, okay? Okay.